Podcast.
What is up, and welcome to the Fantom Podcast. I am Sid.
I continue to be Jimmy.
I hope so.
I'm not too sure anymore, man.
I mean, who are we? What are we doing? What is this?
Don't make this a welcome to Nightville day.
Okay, well, it's kind of going to be, but in a different way. So today we are wandering away from fandom, and we're going to go back to spooky. We are here to talk about horror movies, spooky movies, just anything movie-wise that makes our skin crawl. How does that sound?
I am totally game, and be prepared for me to forget titles, but be able to give you a description.
Listen, I'm just in general, I'm going to be awful about it. Like, we put together a list of questions, and even as I was reading through them, I was like, I don't know the answer. And I still don't know the answer. So we're just going to wing it. You're going to come along for the ride. Hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
We always make it work. We're on episode 7 now. Can you believe that?
That's weird.
I know. It's fucking bizarre. It doesn't feel like we started this that long ago, but it's been at least 7 weeks. So yay to us. So, do you have any housekeeping to start, Jimmy?
Not a huge amount. I'm mostly the one, I've been quasi-active on Twitter, so I'm the one who's mostly responding. I am signing them as J, though, so you know who's posting. So if there are tweets that you have questions about, look for the initial at the end. I'm signing them with my name.
And if they're incoherent as hell, it's me.
It could be me too.
Well, let's see if you can discern what brand of incoherent we have. So, anything else you got?
No, that's my main one. Also, we're completely switched over to YouTube. It looks like all of our episodes are live and they're playing just fine.
Yay! Yeah, I know I listened to our Supernatural one. And the only thing that I don't like about YouTube is that I put my phone in my pocket so that I could just listen out of my headphones, and I accidentally closed it. And it stops the audio when you lock your phone.
It drives me nuts.
Oh my God. Oh, I hate it so much. YouTube, fix it.
It won't, because it's Google, actually. So Google is eternal. It is legion. It is many.
I accept my googly overlords. Well, I just have one piece of housekeeping I had been meaning to say, and I just kept forgetting every time. And it's not even housekeeping. It's just me bitching. Okay. Go 90 is fucking trash, and I fully regret sending you guys there. I have been trying to watch Fringe ever since we recorded the Fringe episode, and I haven't gotten past episode 5 because it just buffers and buffers. Like, its life depends on it. It is the absolute fucking worst.
I was going to give you that one because I gave up and started buying episodes.
Bless your soul. I'm too cheap to buy episodes of things that I like. I was having a fucking aneurysm, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. I don't need to know. I don't want to know what happens in Fringe anymore. It's dead to me. But that's the only housekeeping that I have, other than mentioning, as usual, our social media. If you want to talk to us, tell us stories, send us dog pictures.
I like dog pictures.
Dog pictures they keep me going in this dark and cruel world. But, so anyway, our email address is fantompodcast@gmail.com. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as Fantom Podcast. So hit us up. We're eager to hear from you. So.
Yeah, unlikely to argue. I'm willing to chat.
I'll just send back all my responses in caps. But anyway, so let's get started here. Jimmy, do you want to take the first question, or do you want me to take the first question?
As in asking it or answering it?
Asking.
Okay, I'll ask you the first question because the second one is entertaining. So has your horror obsession been lifelong? Have you been working on this your entire life? Did it appear after a certain age? Did you have to metamorphose into a horror lover?
I always knew that, yeah, it was, or at least I always thought it was lifelong. But then I really, I questioned myself today. I had a little bit of an existential crisis, and I was like, what if that's just what I tell myself and it ain't true? So I went to the fountain of knowledge. That is my mother.
Oh, God bless your mother.
Right? I was like, hey, Mama, have I always been a spooky little shit? And she just looked at me. She goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Apparently, remember when first episode, we were talking about the first movies that we watched, and I was like, my parents thought it was a good idea to just let me be in the room watching it and all this stuff. Apparently, it was my idea to watch it. So clearly, horror obsession has been lifelong, and I don't even know why. Apparently, people used to ask me all the time, like, why are you into spooky movies? You're so little. And I'm like, well, it's because I know it's not real, and it's funny to watch other people be scared. So I've been sassy since day one.
Apparently. Mouthy infant.
So how about you, Jimmy? Has your horror obsession been lifelong?
Not actively, if that makes sense. Like, I was always passively in the room when my parents were watching things, but I was like reading or drawing or doing something else because I spent my childhood in my own head.
Yeah.
Like, there's something on. But I enjoyed it. My first movie, I was at like age 4, but I started actively searching out horror movies when I turned 10.
Yeah.
And then at middle and high school, that's like all I'd watch. And it's carried me all the way to this point. I've asked my parents if they've watched horror movies my entire childhood. I just wasn't always, like, mentally present for them.
Well, yeah. You had other things to do. You had Animorphs to read.
Yeah, I had all kinds of Animorphs to read. That was much more important than watching zombie movies.
Of course, especially at that age, you know.
So, do you want to take the second one?
What is the first horror movie that you remember watching?
Can I say creepy movie here?
Yeah, we're going, like, just creepy, scary, spooky, horror, like, not necessarily within the genre.
The first one I remember watching was Beetlejuice when I was 4, maybe 5.
And did you love it?
I was obsessed with it, and I distinctly remember it because my dad made me a tape of the soundtrack.
Oh, that is so sweet. Oh.
Like my little early 90s Walkman, I still have it. It's a recorded tape of the Beetlejuice soundtrack.
That is the most amazing thing that I have ever heard. What color was your Walkman? Or was it just one of those black ones?
It was like black and gray.
I don't know why I pictured you with one of those like bright yellow ones.
Because I had a hot pink one when I was in elementary school.
Ah, that is amazing. That is so cute. He made you the soundtrack. Oh.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that ending song that she's like floating up the stairwell to.
Yes. Oh, what is it even called?
Jump in the Line. Yeah, I can sing it, but I'm not going to.
Why not? Jimmy.
Because
the people demand it.
I'm not hearing any demands right now, just you.
Hold on. Let me gather 5 of my closest neighbors. We'll demand it.
Oh, okay. Maybe later I'll do a solo recording and release it as a ringtone.
Okay, sounds good. To kind of piggyback, because it ends up being the same thing, the first horror movie that you remember enjoying, was that Beetlejuice as well?
Beetlejuice probably, but I'm going to skip forward and go to the first horror movie I remember choosing to watch, which was the Dawn of the Dead remake, and it has not aged well, but I loved it.
What caught your attention about it?
I had just entered a horror novel phase, and it just piggybacked. It came out at the right time.
Isn't that the best?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It has not aged well. I went back to watch it as an adult and went, oh, yeah. So what about you?
The first horror movie that I remember watching, like I said, was It. Apparently, I chose it. And let's see, the first one that I remember enjoying, this is one that I had a tough time with because I'm like, I don't really know. Apparently, I enjoyed all the horror movies that I watched as a kid because I enjoyed everybody else's reactions to it. But I don't really have an answer. No, I don't really have a singular answer for it because if I don't enjoy it, I'm not watching it. It's a non-answer. I'm sorry.
If you're watching it because you enjoy making fun of it, that counts.
It does.
So how often do you watch horror movies? Or how often did you watch horror movies in the past? I'm going to combine two.
Well, nowadays, it's not terribly often just because I work all the time. And then I gotta, home responsibilities, all that fun stuff. So lately, it's just been the times that you and I watch something, which has been very lacking by no fault of our own.
We're making up for it.
We are. We're going to go full force, especially this week. But in the past, I mean, for probably all my teen years, it was like every other night. And then on the weekends, on the weekends, it was just one after the other until I fell asleep at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
That's some dedication.
Well, to be fair, it was, some of them were just watching the same movie over and over again. And some of them were just kind of putting IFC on in the background and just letting it play. So it's not fair to say that it was actively watching horror movies. It was just kind of letting horror movies happen in the background.
Okay, it's amazing.
Doesn't mean I remember them, but I did watch a lot of movies. That was kind of like my peak era, was middle school and high school. How about you?
Recently, it's mostly been our watch-alongs and maybe an extra movie here and there when I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
At my peak was, believe it or not, that summer for my credential program
Mm-hmm.
when I went to do work licensure. And then all the way through that, I was doing it like 2, 3, 4 times a week because I was up so late doing homework. Again, they were just kind of on in the background.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I also kind of pictured you like middle school, high school, obsessively watching horror movies.
And the thing is, I would do it a lot, but it wasn't like consistent. I would like dedicate a weekend.
Yeah.
Or I would watch horror movies for an entire weekend, or I'd go to a friend's house and we'd do it for the entirety of the sleepover.
Yes. Isn't that the best?
Yeah, we had this Halloween routine where whatever Halloween weekend it was, we would alternate whose house we stayed at, and all we do is watch horror movies and eat pizza.
Let's revive that friendship, you and me, or that tradition, you and me.
It was awesome.
Although, getting a little sidetracked from the question here, but isn't it just the fucking worst when you are excited to watch a horror movie and then it turns out that your horror movie watching buddy has completely different taste?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. How would we survive if we didn't like the same stuff?
Right? Oh, God. Or like they're not jumping where you expect them to jump, or they're just kind of not paying attention, or they're rolling their eyes, or they won't stop fucking talking and asking questions, or like it's such a bummer to just know that the other person's not into it the same way that you are.
And it's hard when they don't take the cue, like now is not the time to be snarky, or now is the time to be snarky, and they just do it and they get like your favorite spot in the movie.
Right, right. It's like they're building the tension. Shit is about to go down. Will you shut the fuck up? I do agree that she is the nastiest bitch I've ever seen in my life, but shut up. You know? I don't know. Maybe I'm just really mean.
Oh, it bothers me, especially if I'm really engaged and I'm looking over and going, why aren't you?
Right.
This is amazing.
Right. It's like, let's be on the same level right now. So, Jimmy, do you prefer to watch horror movies alone or with somebody else or with many other people? And that's not counting our watch-alongs.
So that's playing dirty pool there.
I know, I know.
Believe it or not, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but unless because I've had so many instances of watching a scary movie and it didn't match my taste, or like I loved it and the other person didn't. Mm-hmm. I really don't like watching horror movies with other people unless I know you. Like I like watching them with you. I like watching them with y'all nitpick like I do. You don't get too invested, but you and I have a similar like spooky taste. Mm-hmm. I can't stand watching movies with people I'm not super close to.
Nope. I completely agree. I was going to say, girl, same. I don't watch, and it doesn't just stop at scary movies. I don't watch any movies with anybody else.
I feel that.
Yeah, I need to be completely immersed in the experience one way or another, whether I'm able to laugh out loud or whether I'm able to have like bodily reactions to something, or I need to be completely submerged in it. And when you and I do the watch-alongs, like you said, we're on the same wavelength, we have the same taste. It's not something that I share with other people, like I'm either going to be disappointed that they underreacted or they overreacted. And especially in horror movies, it's like, okay, is this getting too intense for the other person? It's too much to worry about, and I don't end up enjoying the movie.
I feel that. I really do. I'll obsess and like, why aren't you enjoying this the same way I do? Or the movie we watched last night, we both hated it universally. Yeah. I'd watched it with someone else, like, you seem too engaged.
Yeah, like, why are you not judging all of their choices right now?
Oh God, the Dollar Tree family.
The Dollar Tree family. Why are you not loving Dean and his beautiful booming voice?
Sounded like a drunk bear. It was so soothing.
Oh my God. I just wanted him to hold my head and just pet me and just tell me stories. I don't even care if he's telling me about his trip to the hardware store. I just want him to tell me stories.
God, I agree.
Although I guess we should mention, last night we watched Be Afraid on Netflix.
It is absolute, unmitigated, one half of a star.
God damn it. And the only reason that it got that half star is because of the character Dean. So, I mean, just watch the first 5 minutes and then don't waste your fucking time on the rest of it because it's not worth it. You're not going to like the way, you're going to be very confused by the way it progresses. You're going to hate the ending. And the best part is Dean, and he's really only in it for like 5 minutes and then it gets weird. So,
I'm not convinced it actually progressed at any point. Like, the plot happened in the last 30 seconds of the movie.
honestly, I stopped paying attention. I feel like even if I had paid attention, I would have still been like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, I was paying attention, and I like, did I miss something?
Like, I felt very lost throughout. I was like, did anybody really think this through?
Sorry, this should make you feel better. I'm at a website called, I read a review from Film School Rejects. It's a website that posts horror reviews.
Uh-huh.
And its title was Be Afraid Review. Spoiler, you won't be.
If that ain't the fucking truth, man. It was awful.
So bad.
Awful, awful.
Before we get too derailed. When you start watching a horror movie, how do you want it to make you feel? How do you want to be immersed into it?
Okay, well, exactly the opposite of what Be Afraid did to me. No, I want my attention to be held so tightly that even my breath is gonna scare the shit out of me. Like, I want to be invested in the characters. I want to feel like somebody's got me by the back of the head and is like, watch this or your whole life is going to collapse around you, you know? Like,
Yeah,
this is something very important that you need to see. And I want to, I don't know, I want to feel a very like primal fear in one way or another. I actually want it to scare the shit out of me. I don't want to just be entertained. I want to feel something in my gut.
Yeah, hit that primal button where you can't actually control your response.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So how about you, Jimmy?
Something pretty similar. I need to be intrigued, and I don't need to be like surface level intrigued, like what the fuck are these people doing?
Mm-hmm.
I need to be intrigued in a what's going on. I love the movies that start with action that don't actually explain what's going on. It's just awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to have some sort of investment in there. I have to be disturbed, distressed, scared, not just, oh, that happened.
Yeah, like just hold my attention, make me want to find out, which I guess is true for any good story of any genre.
Yeah, it has to make you care.
Yeah, I want to care. And I want to be so scared that I don't even want to move out of my chair at the end.
Yeah, I want to be distressed that the sun's gone down.
Yes, I want to run, like especially at the theater. It's like I want to run to my car and immediately lock my doors. And after I get home, I want to run into my house and lock all my windows. Like, just make me so terrified that I'm going to shit my pants.
Those movies don't exist that often, and it's really distressing.
It really is. Now I'm upset because it's like, when is the last time I felt that way? And I can't really think of it. Damn it. Now I'm pissed.
House is that October built?
That's true. That's too far back though, man. That's 2 years ago.
Oh,
that is entirely too long to have felt that way so long ago. But Jimmy, what are your favorite horror movie settings?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh. Honestly, that one's hard because a lot of my favorite movies either take place in the middle of nowhere, like Cornfield, literally no one can hear you scream, or they take place dead in the middle of like a crowded city. I don't like the small town USA stuff. I love the you're surrounded by people and nobody's helping you. Like, that's distressing to me. It's honestly upsetting.
Yeah. And the worst part is because it's legit.
Yeah, it could happen.
It could actually fucking happen.
What about you?
That is a hard one too.
It is really tough. I know.
It is tough. I guess. God damn it. We should have been better prepared.
Oh, it's okay. It's just, this is a hard question no matter what. We can move on to the next one because the next one we both have feelings.
Okay, we'll revisit this one.
Yeah, I'll bold that one on my list and move on. So let's move on to the next one because we both have feelings.
Okay, and I'm going to let you start this one. So, Jimmy, how do you feel about based on real events movies?
Just the thought of that made me tense.
Oh, no.
Because it entirely depends on how based it is and what the real event was. Best example, the movie The Strangers, which was inspired by true events. It doesn't have a huge amount to do with the original story, but the original story is fucking horrific. Do you know it?
Yeah, that's the one with the cabin by the lake, right? Or the cabin murders?
Yeah, and they found like one of the bodies out in the woods 6 months later.
Mm-hmm. Was that
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask a question about the case, but it's irrelevant. Go.
No, it's just the actual case is really distressing. And so the idea of the movie The Strangers, even if it isn't the greatest movie, will make me tense up a little bit because it did happen. A version of it happened. But so many of the inspired by true events movies are fucking garbage.
It's true. That is very true.
What about you?
Like you said, it really depends. I always get excited when I see inspired or based or whatever on real events as a disclaimer
Yeah.
in movies, because usually it leads to some pretty cool Wikipediaing later that night.
Yeah.
Aside from the movie itself, I get excited about those because then I can look up either true crime stories that I end up being interested in, like in the case of The Strangers, or there's like some kind of myth or folktale or I don't know, something that I end up falling into
something
a
associated.
deep hole of, yeah. But yeah, the movies themselves in general, I'm like, every single time I go in with the expectation of I'm gonna hate the shit out of this, but let's see if it surprises me. I don't have a very high opinion on based or inspired on real events type of films, but I will always give them a shot.
The thing is,
Yeah.
the going back to The Strangers, when you're talking about that case, I had to pull up the name. It's the Ketty murders, and it's not that far away from where I live. And
Oh, Jesus.
no arrests have been made. It went cold almost immediately. They found a head part of a head 4 years later,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
and they found a potential hammer in 2016.
That recently? Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
How?
So I'm looking it up.
Wow, we're gonna have to do like a true crime episode.
Oh, God,
these
yeah.
days. Yeah. Oh my God. My question earlier was gonna be, I don't know why I couldn't remember if it was that one that The Strangers was based on, or there was one like in Norway or something like that where something similar happened.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I can't remember the name though.
I can't either, but okay. Well, now I know it was that one. What is our next question?
Oh, I've got this one. So what kind of horror, like straight up legit, gives you nightmares?
That's an easy one, and that is any kind of home invasion.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad that you mentioned The Strangers, because that's my answer to this next one is The Strangers scared the absolute shit out of me because it could happen. And I can't say, oh, that's not real, because clearly, I can't just dismiss shit like that.
No.
So that's what scares the shit out of me, is the ones where it could actually legitimately happen in real life without any kind of magical powers, without any kind of paranormal entities, just humans doing shitty things to each other is what scares the absolute hell out of me. How about you?
Something pretty similar. I am genuinely horrified and distressed when it's not just like a home invasion. It's something that, one, could happen, and two, there's no real motive. The actual bad guy is just doing it for either the thrill of it, to kill people, to break into someone's house, get money, and then they're never seen from again.
Yeah.
Never seen from?
Yeah.
Wow. Never heard from?
I knew what you were saying.
I'm glad, but the fact that it could happen, I'll like watch it and then immediately go make sure all my doors are locked.
Yep, for sure. It's like there's no motive, there's no delusion or no pattern, there's literally no reason other than they felt like it.
That's probably why Hush bothered me so much.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he didn't really state a motive, did he?
No, he was just there to mess with her after a certain point.
He was just there to fuck with her. Oh my God. Are my windows locked?
I talk about this while sitting in front of a window.
Me too.
Good times.
Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Now I'm a little scared.
It's the best kind.
So, the best kind. Jimmy.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite era of horror films?
I enjoy some of the early 2000s horror movies, at like 2002 to 2007. Not for any real reason, I just do. But for genuinely some often just disturbing, like Last House on the Left. I like 70s horror films.
Good choices.
What about you?
I don't really think that I have a favorite era, really, because I just skip around.
Yeah, me too, mostly.
But for nostalgic reasons, late 90s, early 2000s, just because I was more, becoming more aware of the things that I was seeing, I guess. I was a young child, but not too young. I was getting it.
Yeah, that's sort of the era we both grew up in.
Yeah. So just for nostalgic reasons. But, as matter of taste, no, not really.
Okay. So, do you have a favorite country that produces horror? Do you like prefer horror from Spain, from Germany?
Not really, but I do become biased when I see a horror movie that's foreign. I just go, this is going to be the best thing ever. Just I don't know why. I guess I've had better experiences on the first try when watching foreign horror or foreign to America horror movies than like American horror movies. So probably just because all the good stuff makes its way back to us and the crap stays there.
We get to watch it from a distance.
Right. But obviously Japanese horror needs to be mentioned because come on. Yeah.
They have.
How about you?
Japanese horror has like the niche on weird body horror. I don't really have a preference. I tend to be more patient with foreign films just in general because sometimes there's just this cultural disconnect that make them extra creepy for me.
Right.
I will say 1970s Italy produced some of the weirdest horror films I've ever seen.
Girl, I was gonna suggest earlier when I was sending you all those texts about the lists, the foreign lists, I was gonna be like, we need to have like a month where we do nothing but old Italian horror because I was running into so many titles that I was like, yes, let's do this. And obviously for maximum snark, we need to watch them together.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely game because they are fucking bizarre.
Right? And like you said, I'm a lot patient with non-American horror. Although I end up paying better attention just because of the subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's what makes us biased against it is because we, regardless of whether it's good or bad, we have to pay attention. Otherwise, we really, literally don't know what's going on.
You have to slow down.
Yeah, we got to slow down. Jimmy, what are your favorite kinds of horror antagonists?
Okay, so that one's fun.
Yeah.
Again, that's gonna have to go all the way back to I love the ones with no like rhyme or reason or they have some primal response, which is why I'm gonna be honest, I like zombie movies or the home invasion type where they're just there because they're evil. They're a sociopath. They're there to kill you. They're there to do something else. But I have to go back and go. The ones I hate are the horror movie antagonists where you can see them from like a mile away. Yes, and your buddy is killing everyone else. We can tell he's sketchy.
Yeah.
Like they project the motivations all over the screen in capital letters. Oh God, I just gestured so hard I hit my bookcase.
Are you okay?
I have feelings about this. I hate it when there's not enough mystery about the antagonist. Like watching Scream, I love Scream, but I knew one of the bad guys was her boyfriend from the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yep.
What about you?
My favorite kinds of antagonists end up being kind of in the same vein of there's no rhyme or reason, but it's like aliens and demons. And so they have, how do I phrase this?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like they have their own devilish, non-human motivations or motivations that are above humanity, I guess. Or it's just pure destruction.
The Conjuring style of like, their motivations are so beyond what we could physically understand.
Right.
Or mentally even build a concept of.
Least favorite types of antagonists are, like you said, like you can spot them a mile away. But my thing is the ones that are just so flashy and they got to give you a fucking speech about their entire deal and their motivations, like just like the stereotypical bad villain. It's like, okay, we get it. You're a tortured soul. Show us and stop talking, you know?
Here, let me tell you all of my motivations and my plans, and then we're going to fight and you're going to shoot me. Look, I'm going to tell you everything though, so it takes like 20 more minutes of runtime.
Right. Like they're so narcissistic and verbose, and it's just like, stop.
It's okay. We get it.
Right. Ooh, next one.
Ooh, how do you feel about gore?
It depends.
Okay, give me more.
Okay, so the whole Hostel franchise was bullshit.
It was
bullshit. I hated every moment of it because it was gore porn with focus on the porn, right?
There was no purpose. There was nothing. I'm glad you mentioned it because as soon as that question popped up, that's all I could think about.
Right? Oh my God. I just remember the day after I went and watched it because unfortunately I watched it in theaters.
Oh, bless you.
I wasted my fucking money on that bullshit. And there's $10 I'll never get back. But the next day I was talking to my friend. He's like, oh my God, tell me everything about Hostel. I heard it was so good. And I was so mad about it that I didn't think that I was in the middle of class. And I went, that was some gore porn bullshit. And the teacher turns around and he goes, there's no need for that kind of language. I'm like, oh, sorry.
God.
I just have so many feelings right now. It was the worst. But then, like you said, the Japanese have mastered body horror gore, in such a beautiful way. So I can't dismiss movies because they're gory. And honestly, good gore is downright fantastic. And
yeah, it can be good. It can be good, but it's really, really hard to get there. Hostel gives me the rage fits because it doesn't serve any purpose. And believe it or not, that's why I don't watch Saw. And I mean, and it's weird, but the first couple of, I watched the first movie and I was along with it, but by movie 17, I'm going, okay, we get it. You kill people, you make them kill each other. We understand.
Right.
Why are you having him slowly rip out his own eyes? But on the reverse side, I actually kind of like body horror. So, some of the weirder Japanese films, I'm trying to look up a title. There's a specific one involving a person in a potato sack. It's a weird movie, but it's disturbing.
Audition.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When she uses that razor wire. Chills.
It's just upsetting. On that same note for body horror, Ichi the Killer and looking at the title, I watched Suicide Club and all of them are just body horror. That's all they are, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the blood.
If you're going to be using blood in your movie, any kind of fake blood, it needs to look like blood and not like you went to a 90s grocery store and bought Juicy Juice and ketchup.
Thank you. It can't look like strawberry daiquiri mix because that's bullshit. Listen, whatever kind of fake ass fucking blood you get, go out and buy a bottle of chocolate syrup and just mix it until it starts looking dark and thick. Take a fucking cue from Psycho.
Just
God
try.
damn it.
Try.
Right?
All I ask.
A horror movie can be amazing, but if then they have shitty blood, it makes me well up with rage inside. It's for the love of God, fire an assistant and invest in blood. Your main star does not need somebody who's going to be tweaking their nipples to make them look excited. Let that person go back to school.
I'm sorry, that metaphor got away with you and I love it.
I don't know why I picked that particular example. Sorry. But
it's okay. I'm just...
Go ahead.
I'm just remembering the intro to Devil Dolls with the great blood and the horrible movie.
Oh my God. See, and then that just breaks my heart. You invested in blood and you cared enough to make the blood be completely on point. But then where was that motivation in the script?
It could be so good. So I have a secondary question for you.
Yes.
How do you feel about those movies that try to avoid using blood, if at all possible? The ones that show a death, but there's a significant lack of blood.
I respect those if it's done right, because it's you're not depending on the bodily response to blood, or you're not making people squeamish. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
You're not depending on your horror to come from looking at gore on the screen, on squeamish things.
Gore porn.
You are. Yeah. So if it's done well, go for it. I don't need to see blood in every scene. I don't need to see blood in every movie. What do you think?
Sometimes it bothers me just because it seems like they're cutting a realistic response out for a rating.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't happen
I see what you mean.
often. I can't remember the last one it did, but I raged out in the middle of the movie theater. I'm like, why isn't he bleeding? He just got shot.
Yeah, if it would make sense and you don't for rating purposes, that's bullshit. But if it's an artistic choice, awesome. Go for it. I love you and respect you. That's my feelings about that, Jemmy.
We have feelings about blood. If you haven't noticed, I'm glad no one's walked into this room right now because I sound like a serial killer.
No, I love it. Oh my God. The day we get to Hannibal, I am going to have my 300,000 word sonnet ready to sing praises for its blood.
Oh God, you nearly died just that first episode. That nearly killed you.
I swear to God, after that first episode, I had a cigarette and I was like, oh God, yes. Metaphorically.
So you actually had a soda and a chocolate bar.
Yes.
So, is there
Oh,
anything that when it comes up in a movie, and I want this question just because I have feelings, that you just
yes.
can't? Like, it triggers some primal fuck no response, and you immediately either look away or turn it off.
There's not a lot of things that give me that response because I'm not squeamish. Like, I can handle a lot of shit. But the one instance that I can think of when I was like, nope, and I'm thinking if I got a couple of them. So if I can very graphically see injuries like in Misery when she hobbles him,
Ah!
and then,
Yeah.
yep, and then in, I think it was Hostel when they cut the Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
Just in those moments, I cannot. And I will blink and I will kind of retch a little bit in my mouth, but it's not very often. And maybe it just has something to do with my feet. Like the moment of impact when there is like intense injury like that, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not squeamish about like bugs or anything like that.
Okay.
How about you?
Sorry. Ooh, I'm tired. But I have a really
Aw.
specific one, and it's going to be pretty graphic, so I'm going to try to get to the point. But and I agree, anything like those prolonged focused injuries where they're staring at someone sawing at the Achilles tendon, like that scene in Pet Sematary.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene where the kid crawls out from under the bed and starts cutting someone's ankle with a scalpel.
Oh God. Oh God.
But I also can't handle gunshot suicides, particularly if they
Oh.
focus on the person's face. And I can tell you why. I was fucking stupid one night and going through a YouTube channel, and I was going through like real videos and, you know, the top 10 spookiest films. And they went to one of them. And ever since then, when I watch it in a movie, I'm just like, I'm going to look away for a few minutes.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. And it doesn't just go for like horror movies and stuff, but like in TV shows. If you're gonna do a gunshot suicide, let's not. Just do the implied splatter on the wall. We don't need to see them.
Yeah, we don't need to see that. You can even pan away and show the screen or something.
Right. Yeah. Ooh, I'd never thought about that. Good one. Do you have, Jimmy, a preferred director or actor that you'll automatically give him a shot?
Yes, and I need to pull up her name real quick. And there's two. One is Vera Farmiga, and I totally butchered her name. I can't tell you why. I just typically enjoy her. There is a woman from The Haunting. She was also in The Conjuring. She was the mom. Lily Taylor.
Yes, she's the one with the beautiful hair.
Yeah, without any like reference, I give both of them automatic maybes. Like I'll look at it and go, this movie looks terrible. However,
Let's watch it.
yeah, just for this person because I know they'll make it better. Those are my two. Do you have any?
Not really. uh, sorry. I'm not really I watch this for the actor type of person. And director wise, I know if I see James Wan,
Yeah.
pretty sure I'm gonna like it or at least tolerate it. But yeah, actors wise, no, I don't really have a preference.
Okay.
And Guillermo del Toro also.
Unless it's Julia's eyes.
Listen, the more that I've been reading, I ran into it in one of the lists that I looked at,
Yeah.
and I read the wiki and I don't remember it.
We'll have to rewatch it. It was interesting. She just makes a lot of bad choices.
Yeah, we have to rewatch it, and then hopefully that really jogs my memory because otherwise, either you watched it with my ghost, or
That's distressing.
or it was so awful that I just completely like memory dumped it, like that one episode of SpongeBob.
You just noped out of it. It's okay. But yeah, those are just I won't always I usually don't watch it for the actors, but those two will draw me to a movie, even if it ends
Yeah.
up being god awful.
I like Vera. Oh God, and she's got that horror look too.
She looks like
where
a scream
she-
queen.
She does absolutely.
I have one I know you have feelings about.
Oh God.
How do you feel about sequels?
Oh, my feelings on sequels.
You have last time
are-
I heard you had strong feelings about sequels.
and they are unfair and negative.
Oh God, no.
I'm not into them, really. I want you to scare the shit out of me to make me love a movie without leaving me hanging at the end because you want to make more money. Like, if your story needs a second part, re-fucking write it. Because I ain't got time for this shit, bitches.
Yeah, you do it right the first time or you don't do it at all.
Right. if you can add on to your story, that's fantastic. But I don't want my experience in the first movie to have to depend on the possibility of a second one. I want to know everything that I need to know and have it be wrapped up nicely within the first fucking movie. If you want to tell me more that I would have never wondered about in the first movie, that's great. I will watch the shit out of it. But whatever, I have so many feelings.
Oh, no, I have very similar feelings. It's things like, if you can't tell a good story the first time, it's not a good story.
Right.
You shouldn't cut it in the middle of a plot line because you want me to continue. I do actually like some of the in the same universe sequels.
That's different though.
Yeah, but I can't stand the bum bum bum, not the end yet, is it? Or the end? Or is it? Like a third grader's narrative story he turned into his teacher after writing it for 2 minutes. Just lazy.
It is. And it kind of goes for anything nowadays. Everything's a franchise nowadays. And I'm like, guys, let's... Okay.
It's just awful.
It is. And I mean, it doesn't mean that I won't watch sequels. I absolutely fucking will.
Yeah.
And I'm usually better about it because I tend to be like 10 years behind on everything, every piece of media. I'm like so far behind. And I'm starting to think it's almost like a conscious choice just so I can avoid any cliffhangers. So that way it's like, okay, I'm into the show that was on 20 years ago and I know it's over and they resolved everything now. I don't know.
It's okay. I mean, I dragged you on to Fringe and it had only been off for a year, so you're catching up.
I am catching up slowly but surely. So, Jimmy, what about remakes? Tell me your feelings on remakes.
Oh, remakes, they have to tread carefully, like really carefully. And I say this as someone who still to this day enjoys the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But then the remake to Last House on the Left totally missed what made the first version of Last House on the Left so fucking awful. Have you seen either of those?
I have not.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to give some context without giving you nightmares. Last House on the Left has literally won awards for having one of the most horrific ending scenes ever. It's a 1970s exploitation film made by Wes Craven himself. So you know it's either great or, oh, Wes, don't do that again.
Right.
But essentially, some girls get picked up by escaped criminals, rapists, killers, horrible people. And so they get picked up and dragged out to this house and get tortured. Like, it's really just a torture porn movie.
Yeah.
And it's just awful, and everything's awful. And there's this 6-minute chase at the end of the movie that culminates in, God, awfulness.
Yeah.
It's just bad. Like, it's just, everything is terrible. But it is at the end of it, it's kind of like a vengeance gore porn thing. It doesn't end completely awfully. But the remake completely lost that tone.
Oh, no.
Like, it had its charms, but yeah. And there's a point where if you're going straight for a remake of a movie that's considered a classic, don't do it, guys. Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm willing to give remakes a shot, but I feel like I have to watch the remake first if I haven't already seen the original, and then go back to the original because it just makes me appreciate the original more, usually. I don't know.
They're so risky.
You're messing with success. Literally messing with success. And what makes you so arrogant to think that you can improve upon it. You know? So in general, I won't really watch remakes. I don't actively avoid them. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, though. So don't judge me too hard. There's actually a question I want to skip down to because I'm excited to hear both of our answers to it.
Yeah.
Is there a movie that you've only watched once because it just dinged your disturbing button?
Yeah, kind of, yes.
Okay.
And I had another answer that I thought of and then I couldn't fucking remember, but Martyrs. The French 2008 film Martyrs.
Yes, I never watched it.
Oh, girl, we gotta watch it. Oh my God. It's not fair to say that I've never rewatched it or that I've only watched it once. But the thing is, I had to take a years-long break between the first watch and the next watch.
Ooh.
I love it. I cite it as one of my favorite horror movies. Not my most favorite one, but one of. Because honestly, it feels like you watched two different movies, but it makes fucking sense. But it's the body horror in it that makes it kind of unwatchable to me at times.
Oh, I've heard about it, and I've heard it was just...
It was
just...
I'm not squeamish, but I was like, what the fuck. And at the end, when I finished it the first time, I felt like my head was vibrating. My body felt heavy. I was like, what is this guttural response that I'm feeling right now? Not just at the body horror, like the whole concept of the movie. I don't know. It just made me feel amazing, but I could not rewatch it for like 2 or 3 years.
You just could not?
I just couldn't. I couldn't even. What about you?
I've got one, and you're allowed to judge me for it.
Okay.
It's Coraline.
Coraline.
It was the concept of sewing buttons over your current existing eyes that just broke me.
No, I feel it. I've heard that before from some people. So.
Yeah, it was the concept that just made my skin crawl.
Yeah, I can imagine. What horror movie or creepy scary have you rewatched the most?
Ooh, oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
I actually have to stop and think about that. Because I tend to rewatch it, but I tend to watch them on like years-long cycles. Mm-hmm. And you can't judge me on this one because it's not the greatest movie, but it's just fun for me.
Girl, listen, when you hear my answer, you're going to judge the shit out of me. So I have no room to judge you ever, anytime. Go for it.
I have two. Mm-hmm. It is World War Z and 28 Weeks Later.
28 Weeks Later?
28 Weeks Later, the sequel to 28 Days Later. I watched both of them in sequence.
Okay. I haven't watched 28 Weeks Later.
They follow each other like directly, so I don't mind watching them as one movie and then the other.
Okay.
They bring me joy. And the first time I watched World War Z, I was tense through 90% of it. I just was, and there's a really distressing arm loss scene that just made my skin crawl. Do you have any?
Yes. So this one, everybody who's listening to this, just judge the shit out of me. I don't give a fuck. And I'm not talking about just rewatched it 4 or 5 times. I'm talking nightly. I had one of those VHS players that when the movie was over, it automatically rewound and started over again.
Yeah.
So I just let it play all night throughout my entire middle school career. Queen of the Damned.
Yes. I saw that in theaters.
Did you? Oh my God. How beautiful was it in theaters?
It was so much fun. And I was this little like 8th grader that thought she was such a badass because I knew all the songs. Yeah, I watched that so many times.
Girl, I had it on replay. I could recite the whole movie word for word to you in middle school. It was just, looking back on it, it's so awful. It's the worst movie in existence, except for Aaliyah. Aaliyah was flawless.
Oh God. And yeah, she was just a gift.
She was. But I mean, I was my little budding goth self, and that movie it was my shit. So that's the one that I've rewatched the most. And it's probably my viewings of it, literally not even kidding, it's probably in the hundreds.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then the other one, or the other two that I've watched a lot are Misery, just because it was on TV a lot, and also because I loved it and I love Kathy Bates so much. And then lately it's been American Psycho, and I don't even know why. It just soothes me to have it in the background. Like if I don't know what else to watch, I just pull it up and I just watch that, and there's something about it.
I can get on that. It is. American Psycho is fun. It's a little Hannibal, a little bit not.
Yeah.
I've got one question for you, and I want to say it just because it brings me such joy.
Mm-hmm.
What are your feelings about horror or comedy? My God.
Sorry to all the dogs in your neighborhood.
I just jumped.
I only apologize a little bit.
Oh, don't. It was great. I've never heard a human make that noise. I'm so happy.
I mean, you're welcome for this beautiful experience I've just given you. But
so what are your feelings?
Obviously, very positive. So I fucking love horror comedies so much, but oh God, it's a very fine line because it can't be
too goofy.
Yeah, it can't be too goofy. Like, haha, guys, here's a recycled joke that everybody's been making about the horror genre since the beginning of time. But they are my shit. If I find a horror comedy that I love, you best believe I am rewatching it until my eyes bleed.
What's your favorite?
What We Do in the Goddamn Fucking Shadows. It used to be, have you ever seen May?
Yeah, that was fun.
Of course, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, that's a classic.
It's a classic. So how about you, Jimmy? What are your feelings?
Oh, they're my favorite. I mean, I love a good proper horror movie, but if I can't get a proper horror movie, I will take a horror comedy. Like the first one I remember watching, and it's not a strict horror comedy, was The Frighteners. It's special.
It's special.
If I remember right, it's a Peter Jackson special. Hold on. Yep, it's a Peter Jackson movie from 1996 featuring Michael J. Fox, who is an exorcist of evil spirits.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Just the movie poster.
It's so good. Honestly, the movie is so good. But I also love Shaun of the Dead, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I didn't think I would like so much, but I do, is just Cabin in the Woods.
I have not gotten through Cabin in the Woods, but my God, I think I'll watch it tonight.
I'm going to be honest. The beginning, getting to the good stuff is kind of painful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Joss Whedon clusterfuck for about 20, 30 minutes. But there is this scene, and I'm going to spoil just a little bit, but not a lot, because I want to give you something to look forward to.
Oh, thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
There's this scene when the cabin is over and they've infiltrated the compound, and it is the single most glorious streak of monster-related murder I've ever seen in my life. So they get down, the two guys come out of the elevator and they go hide. And then the elevators hit again and open, and these monsters are released.
Oh my God. I have had literal nightmares about that situation.
And the thing is, it's timed for comedy. Like, if it had been done in an actual straight comedy movie, people would have been dying. But when I saw it in theaters, people were like, do we laugh? Do we cry? What do we do? This is weird. Because it's timed and they rush out, kill people, and then there's silence for a solid, probably, minute after they've calmed down. And then the elevators ding again.
Okay, I'm watching this after we're done here.
And again, it's not like the single greatest movie I've ever seen, but just for that sequence, I will rewatch it again.
Okay, I'm so excited now. Thank you. Thank you.
And it's one of my favorite absurd monster murder. It's just hilarious.
That sounds hilarious. Okay, I will give you my full review when I'm done watching it. I promise.
Now I'm tense. Will she think it's trash?
Listen, I watched Queen of the Dam on repeat for years. There's no...
I'll give you that.
Thank you. Well, I think that we should wrap up because we're pushing an hour and a half and it's all been continuous conversation. So.
Oh God, I could go on though. If my computer wasn't trying to die, I wouldn't have even mentioned it.
Girl, yeah, we need to do like a part 2.
We should.
We'll gather some more questions and better answers on my part.
I feel like we gave some pretty thorough answers.
You did. I have questionable answers.
Shut your mouth.
Listen. Okay. Well,
what the hell was that voice?
So we're going to wrap up here, but we, because we had so many fandom episodes lately, we're going to come back with some more spooky horror stuff. So,
oh yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to us. We hope that you agree. We hope that you feel us on a spiritual level.
And even if you don't, I hope that you engage us in productive conversation.
Engage Jimmy in productive conversation, because I will just be like, I see your point, but fuck off. No, I won't.
I'll share the conversation with you, Sid.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm the worst.
Nah, we're both trash. It's okay.
Yeah, that's why we are friends.
It's true.
Thank you so much for listening, guys, and we hope that you enjoyed our horror episode today. Come back next week for some more horror. And I will have watched Cabin in the Woods by then, and I'll update you on that elevator situation.
I hope you do. I look forward to that review. You have to text it to me, email it to me, and then send it to me in triplicate copy.
You got it, dude. Well, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.